Good morning. Welcome to Garden Wednesday, Western New York. Today is our inaugural edition of this Facebook Live series where I'm going to be traveling to the gardens throughout Western New York and showing you what people in our community are growing. We're here today with two longtime friends of mine, Bob and Diane, and I'm going to turn this camera around so you can meet them. And I'm going to have to do it lowering it, so hang on with me. There we go. Okay, Bob and Diane, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Thank you for inviting us to your gardens this morning.
No problem.
How long have you been gardening?
Since I was a kid with my dad.
Okay, if you can talk nice and loud so we can hear you. So tell me again.
Since I was very young with my father, he taught me how to garden.
Wow, was he a farmer or was he just somebody who loved
No,
gardening?
he just loved growing flowers and his tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers in
Okay.
the backyard.
So when we
in the
met,
city.
she brought all her gardening experience to our first house. The second house, we had the family, it was tough. So with no family around, we started back gardening in our neighborhood, our neighborhood.
Okay, so let's kind of walk and talk
Okay.
so
Okay.
people can see your garden. So let's go this way. So we're here looking at your blueberries, but
Yes.
you talked about flowers with your dad, but we're looking at a line of blueberries here
Right.
that you started. So how did you get started expanding from just the peppers and things your father taught you to things like blueberries?
Well, there is a program I used to like to watch, Escape to the Chateau, and he had this big, huge walled garden with all this stuff, and I thought, I could do that. So I picked out a few things because I love blueberries,
Yeah.
and I just said, well, let's give it a try. And so far, so good.
And now these are your raised garden beds that we're
Right.
looking at.
Right.
When you do your plants, do you start them from seed? Do you order from catalogs? Do you go to the garden center?
I go to the garden center.
Okay. And do you have special ones? Like, do you go to the same ones every year that you
I
trust?
usually go to the same one every year.
Okay. And then when you there's so many varieties now. When you go to the garden stores, there's all these new colors and textures and different kinds of vegetables. Do you plan your gardens like in the middle of the winter? First of all, are you that gardener that in February you've got out garden catalogs, or do you just
No, I just know what I want. And like last year I planted peppers, but peppers are real hard to grow and they didn't do so well, so no more peppers.
Okay, so right now, tell us what we're looking at, because it just looks like mud, but it's not.
These are potatoes. This is my experiment for this year.
And what kind of potatoes?
There's russet and Yukon Gold.
Wow, that sounds yummy. So do you keep...
Black-eyed Susans
These are
going in
black-eyed
the vine.
Susans. They grow on a vine, which I didn't know this variety grows on a vine, so it's another experiment this year. If I don't like it, it's out.
So, do you keep your gardens the same every year, or do you change them up?
Same vegetables, just different places. You know, I like rotate.
Okay, like a
Yeah.
real farmer.
Yeah, and these are just flowers. I just wanted some color.
Okay, and then over here is another raised garden bed. These
Right.
look like beans.
There's beans in the center. This is acorn squash, and that's butternut squash. So when the beans are all done, I take them up, and the squash they'll grow up on trellises, but then I just let them take over the whole area.
And this is a question I really am interested to hear people tell us this year. When you, what is your biggest challenge with garden pests, and what is your biggest garden pest? And, oh, wait a minute, I got to turn this back around. Sorry. What is your biggest challenge with garden pests, and what do you do about it? How do you manage them?
Sometimes I can tell that, well, this might get, the squash would get like a moldy stuff. Well, I know how to spray that with, I have to look it up again. It's baking soda and water, I think. But I really don't have too much problem. The problem is the birds. And last year I had 16 apples.
So you have
And-
three fruit trees over here, apple
Yeah.
and pear?
Apple, the big one is a pear. I lost the other pear tree.
Okay,
And that's a Macintosh, and that's a Fuji.
all right.
And last year I had 16 apples because this is the third year with these, and the deer ate them.
Before you could get them?
Yeah, so I bought netting, and we have to figure out how to put netting over it because there's a lot of apples on both of them this year.
That's awesome.
And I will spray them for if I get
You do
a lot
spray?
of, yes.
Okay, all right.
Just to keep the insects. You got to
Yeah.
do that to keep the insects. You have to do that to keep the insects off, you know.
Got
so
it.
we do a little spraying around and stuff like that, so we can get together and take care of things.
Got it. All right, so we've had a tour. You've told us some of your background. Now we're going to do what we call the Fast Five.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions. It's either or. No thought, no debate, just what is it? And you can both answer. I'd be interested to see if you have the same answer.
Okay.
So it's kind of like what's your favorite or what you like to do the most. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Flowers or vegetables?
Vegetables.
Flowers,
That's what makes a perfect marriage. Perennials or annuals?
annuals.
Annuals.
Oh, really? Not perennials.
I
Why?
have a few perennials.
But there's so much less work. They come up every year.
Sometimes I like to change it out.
Okay. All right. Raised beds or in ground?
Raised.
Why?
It's easier to maintain, and I tell you what, it keeps a lot of the animals away, like the squirrels and stuff like that. It keeps a lot of the squirrels, the animals away. That's why we fenced it all in too. We have
Yeah.
a lot of squirrels.
And
Oh,
if you
yeah.
put the bricks around, it keeps the soil warm.
Good idea. Compost or commercial fertilizer?
Commercial fertilizer.
Compost.
Like I said, this is a great
I
marriage.
mixed it in, trust me.
All right. She just doesn't know. You get up in the middle of the night. Is that how this
Yeah.
works?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be putting the dirt in, I'm putting it in.
Oh, I don't want to know. Okay. This is the controversial one for a lot of people. Vegetables tied up or on the ground?
Tied up.
Tied up, I have to agree with her on that.
Okay. Any special reason?
They rot on the ground.
Okay. All right. So now we're coming to the two questions to grow on.
Okay.
And you can answer this individually because I enjoy the fact that you have different answers. If you could only grow 3 plants, what would they be? Diane, let's start with you.
Tomatoes, cucumbers, and squash.
No flowers?
I'd rather eat.
Bob?
I like radishes, tomatoes, and I like we have big flowers out front called sunflowers, so I love sunflowers.
Great. That's awesome. Okay, now 2 questions to grow on, right? Well, this is that was one of them. The second one is, what is the best advice you can give to gardeners based on what you've learned in this time you've been making these gardens?
Have patience. Make sure they're watered. Just love your plants, and if it doesn't work out, figure out why and try again next year. Don't stress over it.
So it should be enjoyment,
Yeah,
relaxation.
that's why I do it, because I love to do it.
That's awesome. Bob?
It's really kind of interesting for me that if you are a partnership of doing this, have a good maintenance man like me around to do all the hard work, get the dirt done,
The
get
heavy
everything,
lifting.
the heavy lifting, but enjoy it while you do it with your partner. I think that's really a good partnership out here right now. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being our inaugural guest. Thank you so much. The second thing is, we'd like to ask you to please take pictures of your gardens, especially I want to see your potatoes, see how that goes, because potato plants are beautiful and they have gorgeous white blooms on them. So I'll be interested to see how they come up, and send them to me so I can post them so people can see how your gardens develop through the summer.
Okay.
And thanks a lot.
I think this is a great series for Western New York. I really like it.
Well, you're very kind, and since you suggested it, I think you're very smart. All right, so that's it for our first Garden Wednesday Western New York program. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you'd like me to come to your garden, send a message or put a note in the comments on this video, and I'll come out. Have a great Wednesday. Talk soon.